you heard, I have limited time. I just want to get through a couple more questions. So what does victory look like for Ukraine?
Yeah.
How do you define victory?
You may have heard me say this earlier, Senator, but we've said from the very beginning that what we want to see is a Ukraine that's a democratic country that has that is independent and has the ability to protect its sovereign territory, to defend its sovereign territory, and to deter aggression.
Does that mean Crimea is part of Ukraine?
Crimea is a part of Ukraine.
Well, okay, right. But in order for the war to be over, does Ukraine have to control Crimea?
In terms of how things transition going forward, I would not want to predict what President Zelensky will decide.
I think part of the problem, with all due respect, is that this administration has not articulated what an exit strategy is. To me, this is a blank check for a war that, without any clearly defined goals, will be endless. And that is, so the skepticism among, I didn't vote for the supplemental because I don't think that we don't have adequate controls on how the money is being spent. Victory hasn't been defined. So for America's interest, I understand America's interest, we're continuing to head down this road, and now we're getting a budget request that isn't reflective of the administration's, for however long it takes, statement. So that's part of the objection. I guess one of the issues too is, and I want to make sure I'm clear, is it the administration's position that Ukraine should be admitted into NATO?
It's NATO's position overall that...
No, the United States of America. What is the administration's position on Ukraine's admission to NATO?
I think you've heard the president say that, and of course, NATO has an open door policy, so all of the countries have worked towards...
I'm really not trying to put you in a weird spot. I just heard Secretary Blinken say, or maybe it was a mistranslation, so I'm just looking for clarity. If it's the position of the United States of America that Ukraine should be admitted into NATO.
Was that question as to whether or not they should be admitted right now or in the future?
Well, either or.
Well, right now they're in a war, Senator. So
right, so that would be a disastrous result because we would go to war.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
But let's say the war ends tomorrow.
That's what all.
Or September 30th, based on this budget, ends September 30th. Is it the position of this administration that Ukraine should be admitted into NATO?
It's unlikely that the war will end on September 30th, but again, it's the goal of the alliance to bring Ukraine into the alliance at some point in the future.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm out of time. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.